Hi, everybody. I love this next person that I'm bringing to the summit. Her name is Janice Cox, and her book. This is no longer in print, so I'm going to show you a special book that only I have now. She did a series of these books, and when I started my business, I found these books, and what I loved about them, she's got reprints, so she'll show you. She'll show you, right, Janice? You've got a copy of the more updated one, but these books have recipes on making skincare at home and how easy it is. But what I loved about Janice is that at the beginning of her books, she talks about the ingredients and the why. So why would you use sunflower seeds, or why would you use vinegar? And so I could look at her recipes and not just copy what she did. I could understand the formula so that I could create my own. And I think that was everything. And so I was reading her books and using them to get my own skincare line decided and formulated and out there into the world. And fast forward, probably about 10 years later, I'm speaking at Mother Earth News, and Janice Cox is there, and I get to meet her. And so not only have I gotten to meet somebody who was really important in getting my business established, but she has become a dear friend. So I'm going to turn over to you, Janice, and let you wow everyone with your magical knowledge. Tell us about yourself.
Oh, thank you, Don. And I love that story. In fact, I'm a little emotional. I don't know, but so let me regroup and say to everybody, welcome. And I'm so happy that Dawn invited me to be part of this summit. And it's just right. Everything, I believe in everything you guys are learning about and doing, because I grew up in Southern Oregon. That's where I live now. And my dad was a cattle rancher. And so we kind of lived the DIY life before I knew it was a trendy thing. And so, because I didn't have like a bath and body boutique I could go to make my own skincare or do a facial mask, we just used what we had at home, which actually women have done for years, centuries. I mean, if you think about Cleopatra, the original Green Queen, she bathed in donkey milk and used ostrich eggs and natural oils and things in her healthcare. And of course, today we don't have a lot of donkey milk at the store or ostrich eggs, but you can use what you have at home. And I think that's what I like about making your own products. You become a really good consumer, because if you're making something, you will then read labels and be a little pickier. And I think that helps manufacturers. They see this, people wanting more natural things. If you look now, there's whole skincare lines all around, like oatmeal or honey or herbs. And so it's really kind of pushed manufacturers to make safer and better products. It's also very convenient. Especially, I was a young mother and I couldn't always run out if I wanted to do something for myself or for my children. A lot of times, I'm not going to get in the car and drive to the store, where I had ingredients for a bubble bath or a facial mask, or even if you had a bee sting, right in my home. So knowing how to use home ingredients, garden ingredients, is really a useful thing, and it's convenient. There's also control, like I said, being a good consumer, but also you're in control. I can't really deny the health benefits of knowing what's in your skincare and your beauty care products. When sometimes there's a lot of good products out there, so I'm not saying you have to make everything or that there's bad, but knowing everything that you're using, especially if you're a sensitive skin type, or you have, like, I know a lot of people are worried about gluten right now. Well, you don't realize that your body care products might have gluten in them. A lot of shampoos use wheat in their formulas. So learning to read a label, there's government websites now, I think it's EWG, where you can go on and put in your product and it'll tell you all the ingredients. There's also apps that you can put on your phone. So if you're at the store, you can shoot the UPC code and it'll tell you good or bad things. But if you're making it yourself, you know what you're putting in there. And my one other thing on reading labels is, you know, sometimes they'll put, because they don't want you to know them. That's how I learned a lot of my recipes. I would like reverse engineer things. I would see a beautiful bath salt and then I'd read the label and it'd be sodium chloride, bicarbonate of soda. Well, that's just baking soda and salt. So I could buy a pretty jar and fill it with baking soda and salt for, you know, a few cents versus buying, you know, 30 or 40. So I will say that's another thing that saving money is a huge benefit because you are in control. You're the manufacturer. You don't have to worry about packaging and shipping and advertising. You just have to make the best product you can. And if you can make it in small batches, so you use up what you need. It won't, if it does go bad, which usually it kind of smells like an old crayon, that means that the oil has gone bad. Just throw it out. You're so far ahead, you can just make a new batch. And a lot of your products you can make fresh each time you use them. So that's what I want to talk to you today about. Is maybe I used to have a talk, I called it grocery sack of beauty, and I would just pull things out of a grocery sack. But maybe I should call this kitchen cupboard beauty. But it's stuff that you already probably have in your home, and maybe you're already using it, maybe you're not. But there's things that you can use to create your own. So here I'll tell you, one of my favorite, and I think they even have, is baking soda. And I'm not promoting any brands here, so use what you've got, and if you have a favorite, use it. But baking soda is something that's been around for years that people use pretty much head to toe. It's traditionally used in the bath because it does pull a lot of toxins and things from your skin, so it's a good detox bath. People use it as in place of toothpaste to, you know, clean your teeth. They use it if you are somebody that processes your hair or dyes your hair. A lot of hairstylists will tell you to do a baking soda rinse first because it just it gets rid of everything. If you use a lot of styling products, it will really get your hair clean. So it's a good hair rinse. It's a good, people even use it as a gentle facial cleanser and a deodorizing powder. So I think if you go on the Arm & Hammer site, they have like 1,001 uses for baking soda, but baking soda is a good one. I also like vinegar.
And Janice?
Yes.
Janice, on Arm & Hammer, I actually just researched this. There is concern now about aluminum being in Arm & Hammer or being in baking soda. So we're concerned about it being in baking powder, but now we're hearing baking soda is a concern, and people have researched this. There is no aluminum in Arm & Hammer. So your point about using what you have. Yes. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. Your point about using what you have and what's there. I mean, Arm & Hammer is readily available. It isn't the most natural available. You can buy like way better ingredients as far as baking soda, and you'll spend more for it. But Arm & Hammer doesn't have anything nasty in it, so it's not an awful thing to use, and it's so easy to get.
Well, that's good to know. And I do think when I'm looking at products and what I'm going to spend on a product, I think it's how I'm going to use it. If I'm going to use it in a foot bath, I don't really think about, well, now maybe Dawn, you disagree with this, but you know, something like a tooth powder or natural tooth powder or something that or a deodorant that I'm leaving on my skin or I'm putting in near my mouth, I really do want the highest quality thing. If it's something that I'm soaking my feet in or sprinkling in my garden boots for, you know, I am not as picky. Does that make sense? I guess it's,
yeah, and I think it's important.
People, if it's important to you, then do the best. You know, I know people, this is the same thing I say to people because I don't promote it, but women with their skincare. I know women that use Crisco to moisturize their skin and they're happy. And I know people that spend, $1,000 on that. What is it? That creme de la mer at the department store. And they're both happy. So I kind of feel like it's a personal choice. And that's what I like to promote is that we have choices. And that you don't necessarily have to do what somebody else is doing because nobody knows your skin and hair like you do, right? So you know,
and everybody draws And everybody draws their line in a different place.
Exactly.
It's not anybody else's business where you draw your line. And
No.
you don't have to feel judged by where you draw your line. If you love Crisco on I wouldn't be caught dead with Crisco on me, but that doesn't mean that I have any business judging anybody else who is fine with that. And so I love
Well,
that perspective.
I'll tell you that whole Crisco, even there's a whole line of products now with tallow, beef tallow, and that's very popular.
Mm-hmm.
But I also in my book have a whole bunch of vegan options because there's people, even honey is an animal byproduct. So I mean, so you kind of have to, no judgment here. You do you.
Yep.
You do you.
You do
So
you.
you do you. So one thing I really like is I like to infuse things and with herbs and flowers. And if you do have a garden or you have a farmer's market nearby, you can easily, especially this time of year, save a lot of your herbs. My favorite is lavender, and so I'm getting back to the vinegar because I'm going to tell you this in a minute. But I just save, and when you are saving your herbs to dry, these are dried ones, is think okay. So just only use like this, the okay part, because any bigger than that, it might mildew or dry. But if you're drying herbs, just go out, get a bunch of herbs, calendula, rosemary, thyme, whatever you have, and then think okay, bundle them up, hang them in a dry spot. Really, a dry, dark, warm spot is best because you'll get the best color. And then you'll have these nice bunches that you can use. And this is my trick on harvesting. Is you just hold it over a bowl. I don't have a bowl here, so my house is going to be a big mess. But I don't know if you guys can see this. If you just massage it, all your dried goodness will just come out. And you can use this to these bits and pieces to infuse your oils, your butters, your vinegar, water. I mean, actually, herbal teas is an infusion. And so I just will take like cheap white vinegar, which I don't know, hopefully that's okay. But I will take cheap white vinegar or apple
No
cider vinegar.
judgment.
No judgment, thank you. Or apple cider vinegar, the best vinegar you want to use. And I just will put my herbs in there and let them sit. Lavender almost immediately infuses. It's a pretty quick one, but and just let it sit for a couple weeks, and then you can strain this and use this, dilute it, but as a hair rinse, as a deodorizing foot bath, as a vinegar bath is very popular to soak in. But this is just, I really like to do infusions. People will infuse honey, oils, butters, whatever you have, you can pretty much infuse it. My only tip is if you are going to infuse oils, always use dried plant material because you don't want to introduce any moisture into your products. But these are some things, I mean, I will see at the store, people will sell like an infused oil or infused cocoa butter, and it's so simple to make yourself at home if you just have a little bit of time, and you'll save a ton of money too. So going to the teas, this is hibiscus tea, which is a beautiful color. I think but I like to use herbal teas in a lot of my products. And herbal teas, I mean, green tea is fabulous as just a skin toner. I know people that are kind of acne prone will use green tea because it's such a powerful antioxidant. But herbal teas are something that you can use as a toner or in the bath or as a base if you do like to make creams and lotions, which you can use. I sometimes will swap out, instead of using water, I'll use like an herbal tea like chamomile or hibiscus, or I don't know if you guys are using that new blue tea, the butterfly pea flower. It's super exciting. I should have had
I've
something.
seen it.
Oh, so exciting because it's pH sensitive. So depending what you mix with it, you can get some really beautiful colors. It's a dark blue, which is a hard color to get in nature. But then when it gets mixed with like vinegar or lemon juice, it turns bright purple. So you'll see it in a lot of drinks, a lot of lemonade drinks people will do. But herbal tea is great. And you can buy you might have tea bags already and you can buy loose tea. You can make your own teas out of your dried herbs. But herbal teas are just kind of a powerhouse of things because I think a tea bag is about a tablespoon of dried herbs. So a lot of times too, if I'm making a recipe and it asks for mint or chamomile and I don't have any, I will cut open my tea bags and use that because if I kind of feel like if you can eat it, it's good for body care. So, that's why a lot of times another way to save money is shop the food section, not the healthcare section. I've seen coconut oil almost double the price over in the body care area, where if you
Oh,
look
wow.
at, so you kind of have to know once you find a source, and now it's so much easier. When I first started out, I used to have to go to specialty markets, but now it's so much easier to find these products. But just like Epsom salts, it's cheaper in the first aid aisle. Or now my one friend buys it at the garden center, but and she said she had it tested, but I still just get the first aid aisle stuff. Yeah. But anyway, so that is a segue. Salts. This is a big bag of Epsom salts, but you can do sea salt, Himalayan pink salt. Salts are really great as an exfoliator, not on your face though, but and it also is good in the bath because it's like my favorite bath salt is equal parts Epsom salt, baking soda, and sea salt, and they each bring with them their own kind of benefits. Epsom salt is really rich in magnesium, which a lot of people need in their bodies, and it helps you sleep. And so it's very anti-inflammatory. Sea salt kind of boosts up your circulation, so it gets your blood flow going and will also relieve sore, achy joints. And then baking soda is that detoxer. So you can use one of those or a combination. I kind of like what we said, use what you have, but you can create beautiful bath salts and then add some herbs. I mean, it's kind of like muffins. Once you get the basic recipe down, it's just, nuts or chocolate chips. Well, it's just lavender or chamomile or mint. So you can really, create lots, and these make great gifts. It also, you could even start your own business selling, these products. What else do I have here? Oh, clays, natural clays are easy to find. Don't use your garden clay. You want to buy purified clays, and there's a lot of online sources or at the natural food store. But clays, this is just some white cosmetic clay, only it's not super white. But you just can buy a natural clay and mix it. Here, I'll do it with some little hibiscus tea. That's nice. And just I'll add a little bit here so you can see. This is my professional studio in my dining room. So if I can make beauty products here, you guys can make them in your kitchen. Okay, so then you're just going to mix it together to where you have. I should put more clay in, but and that's a clay mask. And these you will find, and you can also add if you want to add some honey to it. You want to add some. I like sour cream, but you want to add some oil. What's nice about facial masks, and I like to make them fresh each time, is you can tailor it to where you're at. Like in the summer, you might not need as much oil as you do in the winter. I feel like everybody, even oily skin types, needs extra moisture. So you can really do what you have. And it's a fun project. I know I used to be Girl Scout leader, and we would always have like our spa days, and the girls, their favorite part was we put on the nature sounds. Everybody would lay around and we'd do facial masks and cucumbers on the eyes. And as a leader, I loved it because they were 20, 30 minutes laying there.
Quiet.
Yes. My grandmother kind of taught me that trick because she was a big witch hazel person. And so we'd go to her house. She'd always soak cotton pads in witch hazel. And my sister and I would lay on the bed and we felt, oh, this is so exciting. Well, she got us to lay down for 20 minutes. So, yeah. So that's the advantage of doing yourself too, is you really are taking care of yourself. So here I'm mixing this all up. It probably looks like a sloppy mess, but you get the idea that you can make these things in a matter of like seconds, and then you have a facial mask. Even all these new the sheet mask. Oh, I should have brought that. Oh well, I'll send one to Dawn.
Oh, the things with the eye hole cut out. And
but those are so easy to make and so popular. And those you can make your own out of. I used even just like scrap fabric, cotton fabric, natural fabric that you can reuse over and over. But those are just soaking in a solution of maybe aloe vera or herbal tea, or you can add a little oil. It's soaking in a solution, and the advantage in them is normally you wouldn't like put green tea, that much green tea, it would like all fall, but it holds it next to your skin. So they look scary, they look kind of crazy. You're not going to answer the door or go out. Even though it's funny, I've seen people using them more in public than ever before, like, even on airplanes. I've seen people with them, which is kind of, but you know what? Maybe they don't want anybody to talk to them, so that might be it. So
It's
then,
a great way to do it.
yeah,
Condition your skin while keeping people at a distance.
exactly.
Sure.
I know that's the. So I'm trying to think what else I have. Just my message here is just jump in, try a few things. If you have a favorite product, odds are you can probably make that yourself. If become a good label reader, you look, have a source of good quality ingredients, and just want to, if you can read, or, it's just like cooking. I feel like body care and wellness is a little bit of crafting and cooking with attention to health. So you can do it.
Well, I think one of the things, I mean, when I started trying to do all the work to balance my body, I got rid of the skincare stuff. And I mean, I made
Right.
things that were replacements, but it was really utilitarian. And so I see some people who are women, in a lot of cases it's women, who, as they want to go to the natural side, they were real into the manicures and they were doing all the things. And first of all, as they change to this lifestyle, they may not have as much money available to fund all of those things, but also a lot of those things are really toxic. And so I think there's this sort of, it's an unfair belief that if you go more natural and you go more dependent on yourself, that you can't do any beauty regime anymore. And with your books, I know you have the Natural Beauty from the Garden book that's reprinted that people can buy,
Oh,
right? You have that there?
yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's so
and the thing,
simple. You can do beauty and just go pick strawberries.
right, strawberries are a huge source of salicylic acid,
Yeah.
which is like the key ingredient in all those acne medications that have a whole bunch of other stuff in it. Oh, I know one more I just saw here. I know I had so much stuff. I should have been, but is oatmeal. Oatmeal is just a good old fashioned one, and a lot of these ideas. The way I started out, I had my own collection of recipes, but I talked to women like Dawn. They had ideas of what they were using to work for them. I looked in history books. I mean, like Cleopatra and Joan of Arc was a big vinegar bath person, and Mary Queen of Scots was a wine. Oh, she bathed in wine, which is kind of a crazy story, because then they would bottle up all the wine and give it to the villagers. Which I don't know. Would you want to
Oh,
drink that?
no.
But she had these indulgent wine baths. I mean, all through history, if you like history, there's beauty recipes. And then also, just talking to friends, family. My mother used to set her hair with beer. My grandmother, the witch, loves
Wow.
witch hazel. My grandmother was a big rose water and glycerin for her hands, as a natural emollient. So there's just, I kind of encourage people to connect, talk to each other, besides, what you're doing. And you're right, Don. We lived a long time and looked beautiful before we had all this extra stuff, because,
Yeah.
the true beauty doesn't come from a lot of that stuff. We all know that. And that's going off in a whole nother topic about real beauty. But,
Yeah.
but I do feel,
But you don't have to give it up.
I do feel
You
it.
don't have to give it up.
No. I'm not telling you to not look your best and feel your best. Like we said,
Yeah.
you do you. But there are alternatives, and especially when it comes to the skincare, like oatmeal is a big one. A lot of people can't use soap, but oatmeal is a good replacement for soap. And also, if you have itchy, rashy, we all know, like if your kids get into something, an oatmeal bath is very soothing and calming to the skin, and it's a good facial mask. And you can take your oatmeal and put it in the blender or the food processor and make it very fine, so you don't have to worry. I always, people don't always want to throw everything in the bathtub, but a lot of times I just put it all in a washcloth or in a tea bag and tie it up and then throw it in, so you don't have those bits and pieces, especially if you live on
Yeah.
a septic system or someplace where you don't want everything going down your plumbing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Or you don't want to clean up after your beauty treatment.
Oh,
You'd
no,
like to
no. Yeah,
relax.
that's right. those beautiful baths with the flowers floating and everything. At the end, yeah, it is kind of a mess to clean up, but it does look beautiful. I kind of want one of those. I want one of
Makes a
those.
beautiful Instagram
Oh
shot.
yeah, I know. So I don't know, Don. Can you think? Is there something else I could or products? There's so many. You can pretty much, if there's a product that you like to use, a lip balm, a shampoo, you can make it at home. And so
You
that's
can engineer it.
and it's not that difficult. I feel like people, once they make one, watch out. It's a little addictive because once you make
Yes.
one, you realize how simple it is. A lot of these things are just mixing together two things or using just a single ingredient. I mean, you don't necessarily even have to create a product. You can use a natural oil on your skin, just a straight oil. I mean, there's some beautiful oils, argan oil, pumpkin seed oil, sunflower seed oil, just straight on your skin, because the three things we want to do for our skin is keep it clean, keep it full of moisture, and protect it from the sun. So, if you have ingredients that do that and they're simpler, we say less is more, right? So you can cleanse your skin with oatmeal, you can moisturize it with olive oil, you can treat yourself to a spa treatment with sour cream or honey. Honey is wonderful, and you have lots of recipes in your book. And honey is another one that people use head to toe.
Yeah.
Air conditioner in the bath as a facial mask. If you have a cut or scrape, because it's antibacterial, and it's just really, there's just all these, like you said. I know I can just keep going on and on about it.
I think one of the really cool things is it's kind of like what I do with the herbal medicine, which I don't like that word. I want people to use it in food. I want them to make a seasoning blend or make eggs. And I think the same way here, you can still do beauty treatments,
Yeah.
and it's actually healthy for you to do beauty treatments, but you can combine them. You can actually make a beauty treatment that happens to be treating for eczema, or a beauty treatment that happens to treat for a nervous system condition. So all of the skills that you can learn in taking back your health, whether you're making a tincture or an oil or a salve, all of those skills can translate across into your kitchen, into your bathroom, into your beauty cabinet. And so then you're making all of these things that are multifunctional, that are healing. You're talking about using the fresh stuff, and there is nothing better than picking your own fresh mask or something for your hair.
And I
I
will say
fell
that.
in love with that.
And I one note on that, because there's a lot of stuff that, like, I just found this pink yarrow. Look how beautiful that is, and I love
Oh,
yarrow.
wow.
But one thing, if you are going to grow your own and you are going to go out and pick it, just make sure you know the source. Like, don't just go pick it by a roadside. I mean, make sure.
Yep.
What I do in my garden is I always tie like a ribbon around an area. Well, I don't really spray that much or use chemicals, but I kind of have an area that I don't want anything. I want it to be all organic and natural. And so if you are getting it from a friend or a neighbor or a farmer's market, just make sure it is grown organically so you don't get any of that stuff into your body care products, which that. But yeah, there's so many useful plants that you might already have out in your yard that you don't think about using and drying or preserving, and for wellness.
Yeah. Basic, easy things. So you have these workbooks, which I love. You've got one on using flowers, whether you're eating them, making skincare out of them. And you started doing these workbooks, which actually makes it, I think, kind of takes some of you've got one on flowers and one on lavender. And my favorite recently was the loofah one. I like these that you've been doing because I think people get intimidated. I mean, cosmetics are like a high-end, come out of a lab, and they have shoo-shoo people with beautiful faces and whatever. And it seems like something that's going to be too complex to create. I think these sorts of projects, for me, your books, we're all taking the the intimidation factor out of it. And all it takes is to make something that's really simple once, have your friends over and have a beauty day with them. Your friends will they'll
Oh,
knock their socks off.
yeah,
It's always a huge hit.
well, and those workbooks actually came from my readers because people would come up to me and the cookbooks would be all written up because I'm a know-it-all, but I don't know it all. And so they had all the good ideas. They would have like a cream recipe, but they would say, I use this oil instead and I like it better. Great. Or I use this herb. I don't like lavender, but I love rosemary. So I changed it. And so we put together the workbooks so that people could write in them. They have pages in them there's even some pages that are left intentionally blank. So you can put in your source if you got, you found a flower seed or a manufacturer. So everything was in one place. And then the other part of the workbook, it's not just beauty. When I look for a plant like lavender or loofah, it's a multi-use plant. So it's a plant that is edible. It's a plant that you can craft with because loofah is really taking off as a replacement for sponges. And even people that don't like floral foam are using loofah in their flower arrangements.
Oh, really? What a great idea.
And it's also a natural filter. That's how it originally was used in the World War II. I think it was used as an oil filter. But, so it's gone back. I mean, Cleopatra had loofah sandals. So, I mean, it is kind of a old plant too, but and then also in healthcare. So the flower book is the same thing. You can eat with you can eat your flowers. You can craft with your flowers. Dye. Flowers are beautiful natural dyes. There's a lot of projects we have in there. Making botanical jewelry. There's also the body care thing. So I kind of on the workbooks we have the 3 sections: cooking, crafting, and wellness, and that works really well for
Yeah.
But they came out and it's good to hands-on. But you're right. If you get people together, I just had an event the other day and we made flowers, kindness flowers, because that's kind of our movement here right now locally. We're trying to flower it forward and take flowers out into the world of people that kind of need it. And so, but it's amazing how we had all the same flowers, but 70 different bouquets. And I think that's the same thing with you get somebody together to make a cream or I sometimes will set up. I've done it at nurseries and Girl Scouts, but we'll set up you remember salad bars, even though I don't think we can have those anymore. But I set up like a bath salt bar, and I will just have herbs and flowers and oatmeal and Epsom salts and baking soda and different sea salt, raw sugar, a whole bunch of ingredients. And then everybody can take a jar or a bag and they go down the line. Well, everybody's bath soak turns out different and they're all happy. So, because, and I like that way too, because not everybody likes or can use even the same thing. So,
yeah. Different people have product sensitivities. Somebody's deathly allergic to sesame. They can't use sesame oil.
Right.
Somebody else can't do milk. Being able to make your own allows you to navigate around that. And I love the community aspect of getting together like that. I know you go out a lot and do programs. You get pulled out and do programs kind of all over the country.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect of what you do. If somebody is just not that DIYer, I just don't want to make this stuff, I'd rather source it. What kind of tips can you give somebody who is looking for not a specific product? Because I know you don't tend to do that, but what can they look on the ingredient list? What are tips that you have there?
Well, again, being a good consumer is, being, I guess, knowledgeable. But I would say when you look at an ingredient, the first 5 things are 95% of the product. So those should be ingredients that you recognize the name of. It shouldn't be something that doesn't make sense to you. Now, I'm not saying that it couldn't be a botanical name or a Latin name or a chemical name for a very safe ingredient.
Yep.
I think watermelon sounds terrible. It's like vulgaris something. I mean, because a lot of these manufacturers are trying to protect their ingredients. So so you want to recognize the first five ingredients. And then I also think a lot of people don't like the synthetic ingredients, synthetic colors, synthetic scents. So that might be something, but that's a personal choice again. But I think learning to be a label reader, and then once you get down what you really like and what works well for you, you just look for products that have that as a key ingredient. Maybe you really like, I know I love calendula, and that's a great herb. It's a great flower. It's all skin types can use it. Even it's in a lot of baby products. So that's something that you might look for, a line of products or a product that has that. So again, what you want, and I always kind of say start out slow. If you do have a known food allergy, like when you eat tomatoes you break out, well, odds are then you don't do a fresh tomato facial mask. So there's a little bit of
Yep.
common sense like that. And then
Yeah.
and if it is a new ingredient, whether it's a natural ingredient or a commercial ingredient, always do a patch test. Like with this thing I just made today, the clay and the
mask.
tea and the facial mask. Thank you. Well, it could have been a body mask. It could have been a lot of things. People now are doing masks under their arm. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But take it and put a little bit inside your arm, or maybe behind your leg, someplace, or behind your neck, where it won't necessarily show. But then wait a day and see if you have a reaction. I mean, none of especially before you spread it all over your face, or at least do it on a Friday if you have to go to work on Monday, because you don't want to have a reaction to something new. And so or talk to your physician. Some people have very serious, nut allergies, and that's another secret ingredient that sometimes people don't realize, that there's nut oils in these commercial products. Yeah. So I think just probably I've said it 3 times now, be a label reader, and just go slow.
Oh, yeah.
But you're in control. So, I mean, again, it's a huge industry that will tell you the latest and greatest, and there's always the latest and greatest. I mean, there's some crazy stuff out there right now. That you can use. I think there's like some rubber goo mask now that kind of looks terrible. There's like those. Did you see those puffing ones? It's kind of like a bath bomb.
No.
Oh, they're like fizzing masks. So there's a lot of exciting things out there.
Oh, wow.
But they all work about the same. Keep your skin clean, keep it full of moisture, and protect it from the sun. So that's what you want to do. And have fun.
I love it. Do you have any passion projects that are coming up, Janice, that you would like to share with everybody? Anything that's coming up that you're doing or you want to share?
Well, I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, I probably overshare a lot of things.
And your mind goes blank.
Well, I think right now I'm a new grandma, and my daughter just got engaged. So I think my passion project is going to be wedding planning. But I am working on a lot of herbal crafting things, because I feel like a lot of people are asking for, the crafting, not so much the wellness, but, some of those grandma crafts like potpourri are coming back. And so kind of yeah, right. So lavender wands and potpourri and plant dyeing and things like that. But the beauty and the body care, that's always my passion. And so I will talk to you all day about that. And you can come over and we can make creams and lotions and stuff. So I'm happy about that.
Someday.
Right. That's right. I'm in Oregon. You're in Ohio. We are coming out, Mother Earth News. We are coming out to kind of close to you, Erie, Pennsylvania. That's going to be a new fair. But, yeah.
That would be cool. But maybe I'll see you out there.
I just feel like I have lots of passion projects. Always.
Well, I think I enjoy everything that you do on your Instagram channel. So that's posted below this talk. I love you always put such beautiful things together, and that's the purpose of Instagram. I can't stand all the drama that's out there. I love to look on your Instagram feeds because it's always so peaceful and pretty and beautiful, and it's uplifting. So I would encourage people to continue to follow you there and keep up with what you're doing. And Janice, thank you so much for your time and for
Oh, thanks for
contributing to
having
this
me.
summit. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm so excited for everybody to start getting inspired. I hope that we see pictures of disgusting looking masks that have been mixed up that show up on the social media pages after this. So,
And
thank
if you
you,
get a
and
good
I will
one,
talk to you again soon. Oh, I'll send it your way.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.